This is DMG and we're going to be making an alcove. But before we start we're going to talk about playneverwinter.com/the DMG. You can go there and you can play Neverwinter, the maze engine, which is their new expansion. Fantastic little game. There's parts of it that are based on the crazy adventures cooked up in the mind of Chris Perkins. So you may see some well-known characters and things hanging around in well-known taverns. So if you like that kind of stuff, check it out. playneverwinter.com/the DMG. Now, there will also be a little bit of a competition happening with that. So if you click here, you'll find out more about the competition. Go there. And on to the craft. Okay, so we're making an alcove. So we grab a wall segment, as we've seen in previous videos. I've pre-made one, so you can watch the other videos as to how this is laid out, measurements, etc. And we're going to measure 1.5 centimeters in from the top and 1.5 centimeters in from the bottom, and draw a line across. Now that is a very wonky line, so this is why you measure twice and cut once. So there you can see how wonky that line actually was. So now I'm using the width of the ruler. It's approximately 2.5 centimeters wide, or 1 inch. And then I'm marking at the top center and down the sides in the center, and we're going to connect those dots with an arc. I didn't really measure it, I just did it by eye, so you can measure it if you want. And I'm just shading in what we're actually cutting out. So then you grab your craft knife. Remember, this is sharp and cut away from yourself. I have stabbed myself in the pulp between the thumb and the index finger before. It is very, very, very painful, so don't do that. So cut away from yourself, and then we want to cut out that shape and cut down to the bottom. So we're going to cut out the 2 layers of double layer cardboard and clean it all out. You can clean up the edges with the craft knife, and then we're going to grab some cardstock, which is 2 centimeters wide, cut it in half, so you've got 2 1 centimeter strips, place those one on top of the other and start cutting out some rectangles. So we want them to be more rectangular in shape than square, and you just cut out quite a few of those. Then with a little bit of hot glue, we start at the top for the keystone, and we place one on top, and then around the edges of that we're going to then radiate out these rectangles. So this is going to form sort of the archway of the actual alcove itself, and again using hot glue down the sides and sticking down the paper. You can see this is relatively simple, and again hot glue and sticking down the little bits of paper. And so this is giving the effect of the bricks, which wouldn't look as good if it was just straight painted on. I think you can if you wanted to, but this really does add that little bit of a three-dimensional effect to it, as though there are actually stones there. So then at the bottom again hot glue, and start from the edges towards the middle, and then whatever's left you may need to cut one rectangle in half to fill the gap. So there we have the alcove. Now I just want to fill in the bottom piece where the corrugation is. So I just trim a piece of cardstock to size so that it will fit. So it'll be the width of a standard wall, and some hot glue in there, and that basically forms the shelf. Now don't bother with the other edges, because most of the time you'll be looking down on top of this, so you wouldn't really see. Gonna go spray paint this mofo. Alright, so then we're going to use the techniques that I've shown you before in video 4 and the sponge technique, and you can see the detail of the stonework starting to pop out. Then we're going to do the edging as you would see in video 5. Continue that with boots of speed so that we don't have to sit here all day watching me stuff it up. And yeah, just lightly do the edges so it really sort of pops out. And then using the poor man's detail brush, we're going to go in and just do a little bit of the brickwork at the back, so as though there's some light that's hitting the back, to give it a little bit of depth. So there it is on a tile. You can see it blends in quite nicely, and just from another angle So as you can see, looking down, you're not going to see the sides of the corrugation there. And that's it close up. That's a great piece. So that's how I make an alcove. Now if you like this video, subscribe so you can see future videos. You can also press the like button. And if you're the dislike fairy, you're the dislike fairy. And from here on, you can also go and check out my Facebook page, Twitter account, Google Plus page, email newsletter. And if you want, you can have your crafts showcased at the end of this video by checking out my website, the dmg.info, where you can go to Crafter Showcase and fill in there and send me the images of what you'd like to share. And thank you to all those who have already done so. You can also check out my store, where you can buy things from as little as 99 US cents to help financially support this channel. Until next time, go away.